use of fear, and right there we get into talking about media and religions there again. Ritual public confession of sins, and that's prominent in the judicial system, and we'll be getting into the truth in regards to the judicial system. Phobia indoctrination, where they, a lot of people believe, if they don't wash their hands 50 times a day, they're going to catch some crazy disease or something, and or there's a lot of things like that. But just once you understand that these things are happening and you see reality for what it is, then it's easy not to be affected by mind control. And brainwashing by family or by counselors who are being seduced by money is big. So some homework here in regards to a deeper level of understanding of mind control, and plus different perceptions of it. You want to YouTube Lisa Renee mind control. Lisa Renee is a contactee, and her information gets very complex and difficult for some people to understand, difficult for myself to understand. But she gets her in. She is definitely legitimate and gives a very good explanation of mind control in that video. And then the next YouTube, this is a long video. You want to YouTube David Icke, The Lion Sleeps No More. And that is that gets a little controversial, but it's a necessary part of understanding life on Earth, and in order to play a part in the solution of a lot of the problems that exist on the planet, you have to be familiar with the fact that the problems exist. So there's that. And then, so all that information, you want to put that on the sainthood course, and then here's an invention, and you wouldn't need this if you were just to expand your consciousness. You'll be able to see mind control coming a mile away, and if someone's attempting to perform mind control on you, you catch it like that. But prior to that, and it takes a while to expand your consciousness to that point, but you want to create a device that recognizes when mind control is being performed. The things that you want to and you use word and tone recognition to do this, and you'll want it to identify the individual or group being targeted. You'll want to be able to identify the amount of mind control being performed, and just do that on a statistical graph. Identify the manipulators beyond just the voice. So basically you also want to identify the voice, identify the being, like say this is being done in a TV commercial or a pep talk. You want to use voice recognition software to actually identify the being who is saying it and hold them responsible for their actions. And they might come up and say, well, I didn't know I was performing mind control, they told me to say what I'm saying. Well, you'll bring it to their attention that they are performing mind control, and if they continue to do it, then you'd have to in the future prevent that being from doing it anymore. You'd also want to identify how the perception of the victim's reality is intended to be diverted from actual reality. So basically, if they're performing mind control on you, what are they trying to get you to believe, and what are they trying to get you to do? And then there also is technology out there to measure your actual vibration, the rate at which your body is vibrating at. The atoms in your body, that is actually measurable, and mind control is going to lower that vibration, and you can measure a person's vibration prior to and after the mind control has been performed, and actually see on a graph how it has lowered a person's vibration. And then you can also do positive, a pep talk could raise a person's vibration. So you just want to understand and understand when it's being done. And you want to be able to hold this device in front of the television and see on on the mainstream media when mind control is being performed, which is a lot. Which is easy to see when you expand your consciousness. You don't need technology, but if people's expanded consciousness were expanded, across the board, big, most everybody, then we'd be able to stop what's happening on TV. But since you turn on the TV and it's still there, that tells me that most people are unaware of it. And you want to use behavioral and applied kinesiology to do that. You want to put that in that device. Okay, and that does mind control. After you've done, and you definitely want to do that homework and make sure the QStudy website's updated and go from there. The next thing is you want to acknowledge the fact that you must believe it in order to see it, and how this applies to extraterrestrial contact. When Magellan pulled up with his ships to some land somewhere, I'm not exactly sure where. I looked for a video on this so I could just put it as the homework, but I couldn't find one. But anyway, Magellan and his ships, when they pulled up to a ship, there was a whole tribe there, and there was 2 spiritual leaders in the tribe. And the 2 spiritual leaders were able to see the ships, and the rest of their tribe, no one was able to see their ships because they couldn't possibly imagine that something could come across the water like that. And because they couldn't possibly imagine it, and they couldn't believe it, they weren't able to see it. And the same holds true with spaceships. Like, there was one time that I was teaching someone how to make extraterrestrial contact, and a spaceship materialized right there, and it was plain as day to me, and they were unable to see it. And there are some other things that when you were interacting with life forms in other dimensions, another thing that plays a part there is how well your eyes actually work. And sometimes, some people have the ability to see into other dimensions, and some people don't. And there was one time when I was making contact with someone, and an extraterrestrial walked right up to him, and he said, "What is that?" And I couldn't see a thing, but he was able to explain and tell me exactly what, explain the specifics of the being. But it's not the fact that I wasn't able to believe it, because I had actually summoned them there, and this person was able to describe it. I believed it, but I guess my eyes weren't able to see into that part of the electromagnetic spectrum, so I wasn't able to see it. So that's another thing that you want to be aware of. Then you want to understand the mechanics of prayer, meditation, and channeling. And prayer, meditation, and channeling, this is all interaction with life in other dimensions. When you pray, you're praying into life in another dimension. Your guardian angel hears it, your higher self hears it, and the collective consciousness hears it. So I'm just going to share this experience with you. I'm going to get into some other inventions later on, but um, I was inventing an improvement for the octagon in the mixed martial arts industry, and I was downloaded with all of this information on how to video and then project that video into another octagon. So basically, someone in one octagon could be projected in the form of holographic light into another octagon. And I was downloaded with this information, so I know how to do it. And I was a bit confused because I didn't know why I understood all this complex information. So I started praying, and Nick Diaz and the Diaz brothers are probably two of my favorite fighters in the mixed martial arts industry. So I started praying to them, thinking, okay, what should I do with this information? So so basically what I did was I wrote down the information, and this is going to be part of the course later on. So I walked into a restaurant and sat down at the bar, ordered a beer, and I looked, and this man comes walking up past me, and he looks right at me, and his face shapeshifts into Nick Diaz,